Allan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second? I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
Couldn't
not
find
right,
them before
and I
the
was
election.
not wrong, and that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be taking cheap shots. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published? No, because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for personal
brother, you got it wrong.
Say whatever you want.
You were preposterously and stupidly wrong.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Today we have Cenk Uyghur taking Mr. Allan Lichtman to task over his 13 keys and its failure to predict the winner of the 2024 presidential election. Honestly, this is a schoolyard fight of a conversation. It is absolutely hilarious. Again, it is the epitome of the left eating the left, and as you know, I love it. So let's get on with this. And guys, if you like this and any of my other content, please hit that subscribe button. It does help me with the algorithm, and it does mean that I will be here to log on to this stuff so you don't have to. So let's get on with it.
Man, poor Allan, man. You just crushed that professor, Cenk. Crushed the professor on Piers Morgan's show. It was a panel of Democrats, a panel of men who wanted to figure out what the hell is going on. What did Kamala Harris...
Okay, first off, I'm going to take offense at the comment that that was a panel of men. Maybe Juan Williams, but yeah, please, come on. You use the term men and Harry Sisson in the same freaking breath, honestly.
Do wrong? Why didn't the Democrats win the presidential election? Now look, this fiery exchange between Cenk and Allan Lichtman, the purveyor of the key system to determine who the presidential victor will be. It all started with him basically admitting that maybe his keys are a little faulty, but not really. He kind of made excuses for himself, and
100%.
I think, and that is what triggered you. So let's hear what he had to say, and then we'll get to Cenk's reaction to him.
I am forthrightly willing to admit I missed this election. I still think I actually had 10 out of 10 before. I think I was right about 2000, but we're not here to litigate that. I still think it's a pretty good record. Now, I think two things are operating here. Number one, I was incredibly critical at the time of the spineless, cowardly Democrats openly and viciously trashing their elected president and their elected nominee right out there in the open. It's my key.
Okay, first off, his problem with the keys, and he's absolutely correct. He was 10 out of 10 at one point in time. So let's be honest, he has been right more than Cenk Uyghur has ever been in his entire life. The problem, and you won't get this through his excuses or anything, is his rampant Trump derangement syndrome and his mischaracterization of many of the keys into positives that were actually negatives for the Democrats. So let's leave that right there, but let's get on with this.
These are based upon the proposition that a pragmatic, rational electorate decides whether or not the White House party is governed well enough to get 4 more years. That was exploded this time by a new wave of disinformation that we've never seen before.
Before Kamala Harris became the Democratic nominee as a result of Joe Biden dropping out of the race, something that, as you can tell, Lichtman is not a big fan of, Biden was losing by a lot to Donald Trump. Their internal polling indicated that if Biden stayed in the race, it was likely that that Trump was going to win, what, 400 electoral votes?
Yeah, over 400.
There was also a lot of internal polling that showed that no other Democratic candidate could also win as well, but they're going to leave that out.
Electoral college votes, and that Biden had approximately a 0% chance of winning. But you saw him there saying, no, if you guys hadn't trashed Biden, he had it.
My keys are perfect. You know, it's your fault. Okay,
Yeah.
The keys failed because of you. All right. So anyway, Cenk, first of all, to your credit, Cenk, you know, Juan Williams is also on the panel, and Juan Williams seemed to be a little more, he was pointing fingers at the electorate even more than Allan Lichtman, and that bothered me a lot, and you called him out on that. But for the purpose...
Self-reflection is not a strong characteristic within the left, just saying.
Of this discussion, let's just focus on your exchange with Lichtman because you called him out, and I think what you said here was important. So let's watch.
You're blaming disinformation. There was disinformation. There was the cats and the dogs nonsense. The points you're making about undocumented immigrants, I agree with, Allan, okay? But that didn't cost the election. The people who are at fault are not other people. It is the candidate, Kamala Harris, the previous candidate, Joe Biden, Democratic Party, Democratic leadership. You guys don't want to admit that they're the problem. They're the cancer in the Democratic Party. The most popular part of the Democratic Party is the populist left. That is the Bernie Sanders 2016 campaign. That part says, let's do super popular economic proposals like paid family leave, higher minimum wage, universal health care, public option. Let's do all of these things. And the establishment goes, no, our corporations don't want that. Our donors don't want that. So we'll just do identity politics.
I think that's the longest period of time you've been able to speak on Piers Morgan's show without Piers Morgan interrupting you. So congratulations.
Yeah, I think it's because he agreed with me on that one.
Yeah, 100%. You could tell he's like kind of nodding along with you, which was interesting to see. But look, I feel bad for Lichtman, right? Because he's put a lot of weight and a lot of his like personal identity and his own view of his own success behind this system that he's put together, you know, the keys which help him predict who's going to win the presidential election. And he cares about that way more than anything else. So that bias shows in pretty much every interview he does. And to your credit, you also said, you know, I feel bad, you know, like I'm going to stop picking on you.
Am I not merciful?
But you also did this, Cenk. You also did this. Let's watch.
The difference that I bring to the table is a track record of successful prediction based upon how American presidential elections have previously worked as pragmatic decision-making on whether or not the White House party has governed well enough. And then my analysis is based upon what's changed, what's shattered the pattern of 160 years of history. So I have a base for my analysis. I'm not just doing Monday morning quarterbacking. Cenk, you need to learn some manners. Your act is getting really thin.
I mean, brother, I said what was going to go wrong. It did go wrong. I was right. You were wrong in this election spectacularly so with your so-called keys. And now you come and tell us not the Monday morning
unlike you, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong.
Are you
You do need to learn a little bit of manners.
No, I've been a bad boy.
You were bad. You were bad. You were a little, that was a bit much.
Okay, no, so
Cenk is so full of himself when he has his own private cheerleading squad with him. And that's pretty much what Anna has always and ever been, is his personal cheerleading squad. Again, any idea that Anna is getting based or anything like that, I'm telling you right now, it is a grift, all right? If they're doing anything, they're trying to pull an old crossfire off with her, Sean Hannity, and him as a much more vocal Alan Combs. So, yeah, like I said, I don't buy it at all, but let's get on with it.
So let me now break it down, because look, guys, it's easy to make fun of Allan Lichtman. He got it massively wrong and kind of hilariously wrong, and he was so insistent. That's why it's even funnier. But there's a serious part to this, and it's really important, actually, and I don't want you guys to miss that. So look, his keys are based. There's two giant problems with his keys. One is
Okay, first off, I just want to say this before Cenk goes off on the keys and goes off with basically who holds the presidency at the time, the pluses that you get for that. Cenk, again, has never been right. Okay, I mean, the times that he has been right are so small that it can't even be measured against the times that he has been wrong. All right, he is Mr. 5%, and when he wants to talk about how Allan Lichtman is getting mad at being confronted by the fact that he was wrong this time, and rightfully so, all right, we have to look back on how Cenk reacts to, you know, his absolute failures when it comes to his own professional life, other than, you know, getting a few million of hapless idiots to follow him left and right.
Irrational to say that any set of factors is definitive. You can't say that it's definitive. And the point I was making to him, remember, the original debate was when Biden was still in the race. I'm like, yes, but if the candidate has dementia, then your keys are not relevant because there's a superseding factor. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. And I said, okay, let's take an extreme example. What if the candidate punched a baby in the face every single day? Would that matter? He said, no, it wouldn't.
Oh, come on.
I mean, come on, right? So like the guy is inherently unreasonable, and the reason why I don't mind.
Let's be realistic here, okay? And let's be truthful, okay? He didn't say that it didn't matter, okay? He said that it would be wrapped up within the keys and everything else. Like I said, again, Cenk is never going to give it to you straight because Cenk has to be the superhero of his own story. So it's again, you have to look within the in between because it's what they're not telling you.
Pointing this out. One of the reasons is because he's so arrogant and overconfident, and he was selling hopium to a lot of people, and they needed that hopium, but that hopium was, and this is the most important part, leading them in the wrong direction. That they were all going, oh no, the professor says Biden should stay in. The professor says it doesn't matter if the candidate has dementia. The professor says that he's always right, and even if the candidate's brain falls out of his ear in the middle of a debate or he melts on screen, it still doesn't matter that because of the keys they'll vote for the blob. But
there's still a strong argument that Biden should have stayed in, okay? There still is. I hate to tell you, Cenk.
Most importantly, a lot of the keys are about incumbency. And he's like, if you pick the incumbent will win. But that's actually a terrible advice in this day and age. He's looking at elections from decades ago when there was no internet, when local politics was king, when you could actually have the party machine have a message that goes only in mainstream media, and mainstream media would then affect the election results. But now because of online media, none of that applies anymore. The incumbents don't have an advantage anymore. They have an albatross around their neck because they're responsible for every policy position that goes wrong. But he did not want to adjust. And the number one reason why you need to know all of this is because in the next election cycle, they're going to come at you with the same BS. And they're going to tell you, oh, we got keys, we got cars, we got oranges, and we got professors, and we got mainstream media people, and we got Queen Latifah, and we got all these people, and they tell you should pick the most corporate Democrat, the most establishment one, the one who takes the most corporate money, the most donor money. Oh, don't go populist, trying to appeal to the average man. What?
Cenk, again, Cenk took $24 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg. Okay, you're sitting there yelling at somebody for taking donor money, and you are the ultimate example of taking donor money. You absolute scumbag.
A terrible idea. Just trust Allan Lichtman's keys that incumbents and Democratic leaders know best. Well, if they know best, why did they lose to Trump twice? Why was Allan Lichtman so wrong? So it's not just about beating up on poor Allan Lichtman, who of course has to be mortified now at how preposterously wrong he was. It's about making sure that we don't make that same mistake again.
If Allan Lichtman would just admit, just have a little bit of humility and just say, look, I got it wrong. I got it wrong this time.
Period.
That's it. It's okay. It's totally fine. People get things wrong time to time. I get things wrong time to time.
We say it all the time. It's not a big deal.
Look, for me, it's not even about his keys system. It's not about what he prefers in a Democratic candidate. I don't care about that. He's an American. He gets to have his own opinions. That's totally fine. The thing for me is just the smugness, his unwilling.
Oh my God. Anna accusing anybody of smugness. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Oh God, hold on, let me start this again.
To even hear a differing opinion or argument without responding with like this sarcasm and like this elitist attitude, like that's the thing that bothers me about Allan Lichtman. Like there's too much ego in his interactions with other people.
100%. In Turkish, there's a saying this is both wrong and strong. Like,
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, but why did Allan?
Every morning during the meetings, baby. That's what I hear.
Lichtman, rando professor, get all this airtime. So that is actually the more important part of this story. It's because in the beginning, before he came to online media, mainstream media put him on air 24/7.
He was a darling.
Over and over again. Why? They could pick any professor, and there's tons of professors who thought that Joe Biden was going to lose, but mainstream media wanted Joe Biden. And that's back when they were pretending that he was young and dynamic. Oh, Mika and Joe told him we had secret meetings, and oh my God, he solved the theory of relativity all over again in our secret meetings. Behind the scenes, he's so dynamic. So in order to perpetuate that lie, they're like, oh, that dumbass professor thinks a bunch of keys is going to predict that Biden's going to win, even though it makes no sense. Come on. Yeah, Professor Lichtman, everybody.
It's at some point that he was 10 for 10 in his predictions, Cenk, and you have never been right about anything. Again, Cenk is mischaracterizing this entire situation to make him the hero and to make him the sage of all the left. And it's absolutely and utterly not true.
Listen to Professor Lichtman.
So look, okay. I think the way you're framing it is unfair. I think oftentimes, the hosts and maybe even the producers who staff these cable news shows, they're looking for their own hopium. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get you, and it's not a conspiracy, Anna. So I want to be clear, and thank you for to making that point. It's not like MSNBC and CNN call each other, and they're like, okay, should we bring on the nutty professor, right? And so, no, it's groupthink.
It has been shown that the major news organizations do choreograph amongst themselves. Okay, yeah, they do call each other up and say stuff like that.
Groupthink is, it's got to be Biden. It's got to be Biden. Who's saying it's Biden? Oh, Allan Lichtman's saying it's not Biden. Bring him on. Biden. Then, okay, Biden's out. Then Kamala, bring him back on. Bring him on. Kamala. It's groupthink. And so, I'm kidding around with the dumb and the nutty. He's not dumb. He's a professor.
He's written a lot of books.
So many books. If you write a lot of books, that means you're smart. It doesn't matter what's in the books. Okay.
I actually think it does mean you're smart. Writing a book is real hard.
Okay, but guys, look, it's not about poor Allan Lichtman. I'm happy to leave him alone. He's just a random civilian that the mainstream media picked out of the woodworks to convince you to vote for Biden and Kamala Harris, right? So. And of course, he's not dumb. He's a professor, and he's, et cetera. The reason why I go in that route, guys, is because when you're that arrogant and you're that wrong, if you can't bring humility and say, I am adjusting now because it turns out I was wrong about the power of incumbency, and I don't want Democratic voters to make that mistake again, then again, bygones be bygones. God bless, no problem at all.
So there you have it, folks. This has been Cenk's takedown of Allan Lichtman. It was quite funny, and it was a doozy as far as the left eating the left is concerned, but that's one of the things that we are all about here. So thank you all very much for joining me today. Please like, share, hit that subscribe button. It takes about 3 seconds, and thank you all very much for joining me. Later.